That was interesting. Uh, Welcome back to another episode of the Maturity Project. I am your host, Sir Chad Everett Broshears, and I am coming to you by way of the mobile studio. Excuse me, that snuck up on me. Anyway, today's about just do something. Episode today. That's what we're going to go over. We're going to go over just do something. Spend time doing something. So I try to really kind of focus on where I want to try to affect humanity, at least at this stage of my life, because I want to really break through the veil of robotic behavior. And that robotic behavior, by the way, is also locked in by robotic thinking. Now, you don't think that it's that way for a lot of people that are in that frame of thinking because they feel that they have the ability to make whatever decisions they possibly want, whenever they want, however they want. And it's all theirs. Here's the thing about it is, let's say we use an example of something that frames you into a specific thinking pattern that you really find it hard to get out of. What is it like for you to financially stress? I really get into some financial stressing. So you have, if like you're at that point, you don't know how you're going to pay your bills, you don't know how you're going to do this next thing, the majority of your behavior is going to align with not knowing how to pay your bills and doing what you can to generate more money so that you can pay those bills. And when you're thinking about, whatever it's going to take to make more money, if it's working more overtime or taking on odd end jobs or figuring out something that you do have access to that you could sell, service or whatever it might be, you're thinking about those things, and when you do, you can't think outside of that. So you're in an alleyway of thinking, if you will. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just giving you the understanding that yes, you have choices that you can make, but those choices are framed inside of specific categories. So it may seem that you have complete freedom, but when you think a certain way, you get an emotional, you get a hormonal reaction if it excites you in some way. It doesn't necessarily mean like excite you for sexuality, but fear creates a hormonal reaction. It increases your cortisol so you can move and get away from things. Oxytocin from bonding. There's a lot of things that, like we have hormonal support systems, but those hormones also put us in a sensation that further corrals our thinking opportunities. Again, nothing wrong with that. Just be aware of it. So if you want to break free of that, not necessarily break free of it, but if you want to change outcomes, the better way, in my opinion, is be doing something, but fix something easy, something small, something simple that you can easily apply on a daily basis. I choose 1% every day to come up with something, to work towards something. Constantly, 1% every day, working towards change. I know where I want to go. I know what I'm up to. I welcome the challenges that come along with failing because that's my opportunity to take myself to school. I fail, that's a lesson. It's not defeat. I fail, it's a lesson, not defeat. And it's continuously redoing and redoing. I have no problem with failing. I love doing it, because I know that the lesson's going to take me further. And I usually don't fail on the same thing multiple times. Sometimes I do. But the goal is, okay, well, I've overcome this. The next time that particular situation occurs, I'm equipped, capable. 1%. That's all it's taken to get to that point. But it's continuous focus. What's my big goal? And then what little actions can get me there? Always be doing something. I make the bed every morning. Always be doing something. I brush my teeth. Seems simple, but I'm always doing something. That does not seem to make any effect necessarily unless I miss doing it. So it's not a major contributing factor, but its absence in my daily routine would be. And it would contribute in an undesirable and less motivating kind of way. It would be a disruption to some degree. Not brushing my teeth, that is. Deodorant. Okay, well, I'm pretty consistent with that as well. So you look at the things that you have on a consistent daily basis that you do, and say, okay, well, what is it that feels like it's a little bit of a stretch? Something I don't do as often. like for me, the change. Like you can build a habit of change. Build a habit of change, and the habit is it supports you when you are needing to have a little more autopilot or thinking dynamically in situations, having better emotional control over certain situations. If you build the habit of change, the habit of progress and growth, it will support you on the back end when you're dealing with challenges. So it increases your potential for confidence. It increases your ability to be dynamically capable of adapting to the scenarios and the environment. It reduces you getting in your head about it, even though you're still likely getting in your head some degree, but it depends on what kind of thoughts you have and how that works. For you specifically. So that's the particular goal, is to help break free by giving little pieces every day, little habits. It took a little bit before I got used to making my bed every day. I've been doing that for a while now, but when I first started, I'm like, damn it, I forgot to make my bed today. And when I did make my bed, I felt a little bit better. It wasn't like massive. I wasn't throwing a cape on to go stand outside and be like, look at me, I've got my chest up. It wasn't that. It was more, okay, good. I did something positive, did something desirable. I got a little goal in today and it worked. And then it got to the point that it's now structurally sound. I didn't need to have that as a point of interest as much as just to make sure it was done, so it wasn't, its vacancy made it feel, it created disruption. So there's a lot of little things that it just took time to get to the point of making them into strengths. Choosing not to listen to the radio on a daily basis, or choosing not to listen to a radio while I'm doing things that could be, that's kind of common and standard, right? Like when you're driving, listen to the car, listen to the radio, listen to music of some sort. I've made it a habit that that's not my go-to. Now, occasionally I do it, but the majority of the time I'm listening to something educate me, something that I have interest in to help develop me, or I'm doing this and recording. By the way, here's another one for you. Now this has become something that's far more comfortable to do in a way that I'm not in my head as much prior to getting on the recording. And that is, I used to get in my head thinking about all the people that would reject this message or reject the way that I speak, or something about me would end up with the experience of rejection. And I had to deal with that and go ahead and hit record or hit the go live. And now I'm at the point now I'm like, look, you're always going to have people that disagree with you. You're always going to have people that are envious of the actions that you're taking, and sometimes that slips into jealousy. There's all kinds of things that happen. You will have the genuine critiques that are wonderful to listen to and good, but it depends on where you are in your confidence and your strategy or your structure at the time, to whether or not that's something you should take note of and like accept the criticisms, because you might be too early in the foundation of the habit, and you're not going to be able to, and you may not be able to use that as a fuel to progress. It might be something that really does knock you on your butt. I've had it happen multiple times, and that's why there's gaps whenever I record. Something breaks my habit. And I'm speaking from that experience. It feels different this time because I'm not as concerned about it. Just hit record and go and see what happens. So it's all practice, and just continue to practice, to put out content, and just really with the intent to help give people insights to make changes. And the first changes I really want to affect would just be the way that people think, and that's only by vantage point. Shift it a little bit so that you can really realize a lot of your wonderful potential. Everybody, by the way, has wonderful potential. It's just some of us really don't have the guides to be that. So I'm stepping forward to attempt to be that guide for people. That all took building up. Had this been a conversation I had when I was dealing with social anxiety, that I would be putting stuff out like this on a regular basis and influencing some people, I would have probably said, no damn way in hell am I doing that, because social anxiety, right? That's a major fear of rejection. I was gripped by it for a period of time in my life. Had this been proposed then, I would have been like, no way. I was insightful enough, I would have been like, okay, no way, but then be like, how the hell did I get to that? Like, if that's my future self, how did I get there? That's pretty incredible, because of what I was struck with. Had it not been, hey, Chad, you're going to be this guy when you get older, and just been like, hey, take this challenge on and go do this, there's no way I would have done it. I would not have done it. It would have been horrible. It would have been quick. I would have sweated all over the place, probably would have fell on the ground and just disappeared into a ball. because I just had bad social anxiety. But now, after years and years and years of doing 1% more every day, and there were definitely times when I got more than 1%, without a doubt, but still, the intent is 1%. Sometimes I had the right opportunity to accelerate that. So, always be doing something, man. You're going to be doing something anyway. It's just the less organized it is, the less likely it is to impact your life. That's not a guarantee, right? Like you win the lottery, it's going to impact your life significantly. And most lottery winners, that's significant to the negative. But it's a roller coaster prior to getting to the reality of the outcome over time. So with this, it's just that, man. I just want to be able to help support opportunities for people to grow. So 1% every day, get past the fear of rejection and the thing that's stalling you out, and just do something. By the way, if you're in a situation and your partner doesn't support you doing 1% more every day, or let's say that your partner doesn't support you making the changes necessary in order for you to achieve your goals, whether that's losing weight or becoming financially independent or whatever it is, well, your partner may not want to sacrifice the time. They may be afraid that if you get to achieve what you achieve, you'll leave them. You could remind them of what they're not doing for themselves. Therefore, the reality is that they're just not accomplishing their life goals, and they just beat themselves up. So they'd rather transfer that onto you and not remind them of it. There's a lot of different reasons why partners don't support each other, or they just don't know how. There's a bunch, and that's not an exclusive list. But if you really want to make those changes and your partner doesn't seem to support it, 1% on a daily basis is enough for you to do it independently, as well as if your partner restricts you from doing it because they're, if they put an embargo on you or something, tell you you're going to lose something if you do, they'll take away affection or, whatever, create some sort of hardship for you. It's definitely a relationship you want to look at, because that's not what I would consider a healthy one, but it's one to grow from, that's for damn sure. But you could, by 1% on a daily basis, is so subtle it's typically not noticed. And if it is noticed, it's not something that you would necessarily be hit, with some sort of high levels of upset by. It's just be like, all right, well, hey, X, Y, and Z, we're doing that or whatever. Who knows what it would be? I can't project into that. I'm just trying to work with a larger group of people that may not necessarily appeal to everybody. So please bear with those things. No, it's just, yeah, gotta love that stuff. Anyway, welcome to the play-by-play while I'm in my mobile office. Anyway, okay, so 1% on a daily basis, it's definitely going to change your world, but it doesn't do it overnight. And, I've realized that the majority of us get so incredibly hooked on the outcome of our journey that we lose the process of what you're actually going through right now and the successes that you've already had, or what you're currently you're reveling in the success, but you don't realize it. Or perhaps reveling in is the wrong word for it, but still, you're in the success of it and you don't realize it because you're looking at the outcome, and that could reduce your effort and it could end up defeating you if you don't qualify the fact that you are where you are. And it's okay. You don't need to lose sight of your big goal. You don't need to do that. If you do this 1% on a daily basis, it is so incredibly easy to lose track of what you've accomplished because it's so subtle at times. So it takes the hindsight exercises for you to validate it. I do it all the time. That's one of the ways that I can at least validate that, hey, I'm making the desirable changes for myself to get closer and closer to my goals in life. Now, with the maturity project's tie-in with this is it's actually not just in your goals of some sort of grandiose thing to be, Olympic swimmer, whatever place you want, or whatever particular thing it is, Fortune 500, business owner, whatever those things are. What the maturity project is about is to make sure you stay balanced in your process, your journey of growth, so that your success doesn't sour you, so your success doesn't ruin your life. Because that happens a lot, because people don't know how to manage their life outside of their strengths. And the maturity project is to help people develop strengths out of weaknesses, become aware of them and develop them. That's what you'll find when you pursue the maturity project. The products will become available soon, as far as the intellectual products, things like that. I will be doing some gimmies here pretty soon, so I'll just, email address will get you, give you, some starter points and foundational work that'll help at least create clarity, so you have some place to work from. So it's not just listen to me and go, hey, that's a pretty good idea, but not have something you can make tangible. You can write this stuff down, which I encourage, but the average person doesn't seem to do that anymore. I'm not going to wrong everybody for it. We can put exercises in place to have that become more real for people that are in this. But I'm going to have to likely give you that as an entryway, beneficial for following the channel and liking and subscribing and sharing the videos. So with this, I grow, you grow, right? You grow, I do. It's very harmonic in its own way. It's Ubuntu, if you go by the African definition of that word. And that means without you, there is no me. So I absolutely love helping people get to the next place, right? I love to see people get through things that are just challenges. So keep an eye on the channel. Make sure you subscribe to this, and do share this with the people in your life that you want to break the ice with. Let's make this thing happen in life. There's a lot to do. It's a world to get to attend to. But we really got to work on ourselves first. So with that, the highway to hell is paved with good intentions. Right now, our society seems to be gearing up to make a super highway to get there. And I just don't, that's not the life I want to live, and it's not the life I want to lead people to. Personal responsibility will stop that. So follow me for more of that. Okay, we're in this together. Let's get to it. All right. Again, I'm your host, Chad Everett Broshears, or Sir Chad Everett Broshears. Some, if you know, you know. And this is the Maturity Project. All right, let's get to it.